Welcome, my name is Phil, and this is your top 10 tips for new beginners playing MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. If you're having difficulty with completing missions, the first thing I suggest you do is focus on the primary objective. Let's use this mission for example. This is a demolition mission where I need to get to that marked nav point, destroy the enemy location, and then get to extract. Now, how you do that is going to be up to you. There's a few different strategies you can use. You can use long range. You can go in there and just brawl and use short range weapons, flamers and machine guns, get in there and get out. But you can also stick around and get more C-bills and salvage. Really, it's going to be up to you to decide, but just keep in mind it's a risk versus reward. You potentially will be taking more damage against your battle mechs, which means repair and rearm cost. Decide early on what your goal is. Is it to get in and get out? And if so, make sure to choose C-bills for your reward over salvage. As you can see here, the machine guns and flamers are going to do work against everything. The base is going to come apart so much quicker. The only thing you do have to worry about is, well, taking damage. But the whole thing about this strategy is to get in and get out. So we're going to blitz here. We're going to take out the buildings as quickly as possible. All right, let's get out of here now.
Head to the evac zone.
If you notice your AI lance mates firing awkwardly, or maybe they're not firing a weapon system that you've equipped to them, well, the problem is probably the weapon grouping. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Navigate to the mech lab, then navigate to the weapon group tab. So we have all these weapons on this atlas. So what the AI is doing is they're firing all of these weapons at once, then they're waiting for their heat dissipation to happen, and then they're just alpha striking again every single time. Obviously, this could be a problem. One, some of these weapons are not in the same range brackets, as well as you want the ability for the AI to fire a little bit more efficiently, and some weapons generate more heat than others. And of course, like I mentioned, the weapon brackets themselves. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and disengage these, and we're going to reacquire. I want the AI to be able to shoot its medium lasers grouped together 2 and 2 on the arms and the torso independently. I also want it to be able to fire its AC-20. So that's going to be group 3. And I'm going to put the SRM as well with the group 3. So that means it's going to fire its AC-20 and its SRM at the same time. I'm also going to include an LRM-20 in the group 4. Now, this is where you can be a little bit creative. I can group all of my mediums here and it can alpha, but let's just say I don't want it to, or maybe I want it to chain fire. And so you're giving the AI options here to work with the heat dissipation capabilities. Maybe I just want it to be able to fire its AC-20 without any SRMs. I'm going to go ahead and give it that ability as well. All I got to do is click apply, and bam, there you go. And if any point in time in the future you notice weird AI as far as weapons, make sure to go check that, because sometimes when you're customizing mechs, it will change the weapon groups themselves, and it may default them into a weapon group that doesn't make it optimal. Remember to repair and rearm your mechs. I can't stress this enough. If you take any damage, which you're going to on any mission, before you go on to the next one, make sure to go in here and repair your mech. We have a Centurion, for example. This thing is beat up. So what we want to do is we want to get this ready for the next mission. Well, to do so, the quick way is just to click the repair mech button. Now, this is only going to repair your mech, and it gives a quick breakdown of basically what's going on here. As you can see here, it does say that it's repairing the AC-10 and repairing these items. And what that tells you, it's not destroyed, it's only damaged. And if you want a detailed example of this, you can click loadout, go to the details view, and it's going to give you a breakdown of what is damaged and or destroyed. And in this case, there's nothing destroyed. So if I want to, I go ahead and click repair all, click start work, and go ahead and queue, and it's going to put it in queue for you. And that's how long it's going to take, 47 days for this to turn around. There's a few things you can do to optimize your battle mech for survivability and firepower. Let's use the Javelin 10F for example. Let's go ahead and click on the loadout here. We have a light battle mech that has 4 energy hardpoints for these medium lasers, 2 in the left, 2 in the right. If you'd like more information, again, you can go down to the details view mode. That gives you a little bit more information about the mech's overall armor and equipment that's attached. So where are we going to get the tonnage to be able to make these changes? Even if we wanted to max armor right now, we actually don't have the tonnage. Well, that's going to have to come from the equipment. So I'm going to go ahead and take off 2 jump jets here. And you'll notice the max armor button is going to appear. I'm going to go ahead and click that. But I want to change things around. Maybe I don't want that much rear armor. I want it more to be in the front. So we're just going to adjust this here. 32 in the front. We're good everywhere else. Now we're at 29.93. And there's really nothing that we can add that's going to change that. But let's just say I wanted to fire a little bit more often and be a little bit more efficient on heat, and I don't really use the jump jets on this. I actually could just take these jump jets off and place single heat sinks in the torso, and it's gonna make up the cooling heat per second for my efficiency. So what that's gonna allow me to do is fire more often, and of course reduce the heat to allow me to fire more often. All I gotta do is click start work. It's gonna give me a breakdown of cost and time, and in this case, 13 days, a total of 27,000 C-bills. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. So we just increased the armor and durability of our mech and survivability, and we also increased our lethality. We did decrease and take away our ability to jump jet, but again, you're gonna have to make that choice. The Javelin 10F is actually a great starter mech. With 4 medium lasers in the torso and no arm-mounted weapons, you actually don't have to worry about losing your arms. The Javelin 10F is actually a solid light mech. One of the bonuses it has is it doesn't have any armed weapons, and on a light mech, that means if you lose the arms, it's not that big of a deal. Also, the nice thing is having all the weapons and high mounts on your torso allows you to focus your 4 medium lasers on your target relatively easy. Accompany that with the ability to go 97 kph and of course have jump jet capability. It's a nice little light mech to be able to do quick and fast missions, and of course a quick repair if you do take damage. Once you've got some missions under your belt, make sure to go to your inventory and sell any unused equipment that you're not really using. And of course, you can keep 1 or 2, but in this example, I'm gonna go ahead and sell about 4 of these AC5s at 50,000 C-bills each, and it's a good way to make extra C-bills along the way. And again, inventory management is a small part of the game, so make sure to check back here periodically. Unless you have C-bills just coming out your ears, a good rule of thumb is not to repair in conflict zones. Though there are exceptions to this, and generally you're going to have to do a little bit of math and looking around. It may be actually cheaper to repair here than taking a jump over to another star system or 2 to go to Industrial Hub just to travel back to the conflict zone. But just keep in mind, for a general rule of thumb, especially as your mechs get more heavily damaged and or you're doing a large overhaul on a mech, going to an Industrial Hub is generally cheaper. And again, there are some exceptions. Just make sure to look at how much it's going to cost to go to that Industrial Hub, how much repairs generally would be, and then of course if you're going back to the same conflict zone, how much travel back there. So it may save you a few extra C-bills, but you also have to look at time investment going there and back as well. Speaking of industrial hubs, it's the only locations that you can acquire MechWarriors. When you jump to industrial system, locate the barracks tab, go to pilot for hire, and of course these are your available pilots. Keep in mind their max level skill cannot be upgraded, so you're always on the search for better and better MechWarriors. In this case, we have Lieutenant Bowden, who is a 23 out of 34, who's of course the top here. So I'm going to go ahead and hire a pilot. And there you go. Now you have another pilot, and you can check them out on your roster here. This particular MechWarrior will level up as you progress. So just keep that in mind when you're jumping around looking for pilots. There will be some high skilled pilots out there, so keep an eye out. After every mission, you're located in the mech bay, but if you want to get quick access to the mech lab, maybe the roster or star map, all you have to do is hit tab and it's going to bring you there. If you hit escape, you're back to where the location you last were. But again, tab is your friend, so make sure to utilize that as often as possible.